Hello everyone, Luke99 here, and I will be showcasing a LEGO web game, Exo-Force Deep Jungle. The one thing I want to mention before we jump into the run is that 90% of the text in this game just says undefined, and that's the perk of it being a web game which has since been removed from the LEGO website. That's just what I wanted to mention before we get started. I'll do a little bit of menuing and just character select stuff, and then I can start explaining once we get into the actual run what's going on. Just going to click through a couple boxes here. 1, 2, and time will start when I click this last checkbox. So I'll go 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is LEGO Exo-Force Deep Jungle. It is a web game, as I mentioned, that was released in the mid-2000s on the LEGO website, based off of the Exo-Force theme. The first thing I want to mention is my character choice. So there's 4 characters you can choose from. I always play as Hayato in the red mech because, as you can see right here, I'll just demonstrate firing off a couple laser bolts here. He has a dual laser bolt cannon weapon, whereas the other robots have more melee type attacks, and for the purposes of speedrunning, typically having farther range weapons in this game works the best. So right now, this is a very much a run and gun type game with the focus being on running. There's 4 levels to this game, and each one has a final boss. For the any percent category, I'm just trying to beat all 4 bosses as fast as possible. So that means I'm just avoiding every single enemy on the way to the boss, and we're already at the level 1 boss, which is this giant spider. There's a couple different patterns we can get here of his laser bolt firing, and it looks like we got the good one. Sometimes he fires a bunch straight at you. My health meter is up in the top left-hand corner there, and his health is almost fully depleted. There we go, there's level 1. So it's a very simple game. We're moving on to level 2 here. Not too much has changed. So in terms of some of the enemies, we've got these main robots. Those are sentries, the guys piloting those little mech suits. Each enemy has a little bit of a different attack cycle and weapons and things like that, and as you progress through the 4 levels, more enemies become available for you to battle, who have different rates of fire and damage. So since I'm just trying to beat the bosses, I'm going to be trying to avoid their fire as much as possible. A new enemy just got introduced. That's what the text box on the bottom left-hand corner signals. It's the Fire Vulture. He fires 3 or 4 blasts. The nice thing about running as fast as you can is that the enemies usually pause before they lock onto you to start firing. So if you're running fast enough, which you can see I am, I'm just able to avoid most of their fire. It's okay that I'm taking a little bit of damage on the way to the boss. Typically, you need to have above half health to take down the boss, as you can see, and this boss as well. I'm just going to pit myself as close as I can and just basically rapid click as much as I can. We've got a little bit of a problem here in that one of these guys followed us, so I need to get away from the boss real quick, and I need to take him out. Although that's not really looking like it's working, so I'm going to pop out here. I'm just going to see if I can do some damage to the boss. My health should be alright. The boss is just under half health, now under a quarter health. We should be good. It's going to be pretty close, a little closer than I would have liked. But there we go, there's level 2 down, that's good. Going into level 3 here, I'll mention it again when we reach the actual boss, but the level 3 boss is the hardest by far in this run. And you'll see why in just a minute. So I'm going to be running by these enemies. Another thing I can mention, I'll try and point it out if I see another one, but on the ground, when I'm running, there's sometimes different colored patches of grass or vines or other obstacles. There's another different type of enemy. He fires very fast, so we want to try and stay away from him. Also, we're running fast enough that the enemies don't usually catch up. As you can see, one of them followed me onto the boss on the last level, but typically it's not too much of an issue. But the level 3 boss is definitely going to be the hardest of the run, because instead of just pitting yourself right in the center of his presence, basically, to attack him as much as you can, he flies all across the screen, and goes off screen. It's just a lot. Here he is. So what's also cool, I can point out real quick, is that all of the bosses except for one, and all of the enemies and all the heroes and stuff, are actual LEGO sets, which is pretty cool. So he's off screen right now, and it's a lot of kind of trial and error and pattern memorization of where he's going to be going, so I can hit him most of the time. He's also kind of dangerous because he can fire off up to 15 laser bolt blasts at a time if you don't move, and if they all connect, like right there, that's about 15 shots, and if those all connect, you're losing probably a quarter of your health right there. So I'm going to try and stay out of his fire. Another cool thing is, if you time it just right, your laser bolts that you're firing can actually block his fire, which is a little bit harder to use, so typically I just try and dodge around them. So as you can see there, another huge burst of attacks. And I think he's up here somewhere. There he is, he's down there. So we're just going to try... Thankfully no other enemies followed, because if too many enemies get on screen, it's going to be tough to take them all out. Obviously the bosses have the most health out of everyone, but if you lose a level, thankfully you don't go back to the start of the game, but obviously the run is pretty much over. But you go back to the beginning of the level instead of the entire game. So he's still launching quite a bit of fire. It looks like he's just about dead though, and we're still over half health, so we should definitely be good here. I think we should get him on this cycle. There we go, there's level 3 done. So we've got one more level of the run. Level 4. No new enemies are introduced on level 4, so that's kind of nice. It's just a lot of... So there we go. That was one of the colored leaves on the ground. You go into... I would show you, but since this is a speedrun, I really don't want to do that because you lose a lot of time. It goes into a brief mini-game where you have to click a series of colored circles to escape from the trap, so to say. So we've got a lot of these little robot minions running around here. You can slow down and shoot these enemies. There is a chance that each of them drops one of 3 or 4 power-ups, which are health, increased firepower, and increased speed. However, it's definitely less than 50% chance, so I don't typically take the risk to slow down, especially because they only last a certain amount of time, and by the time you reach the boss, they typically run out. So we've got a lot of these guys that we have to dodge here. We should be getting up to the final boss pretty soon. I'm gonna try and stay away from all these vines and things on the ground. And here's the final boss. Ironically, one of the easier ones in the game, just because he's very slow and he does a little bit of damage. When he starts firing in circular blasts, that typically does the most. Thankfully, no enemies followed me up to this spot. See, these circular blasts are going to do quite a bit of damage. So time will end when I click the final checkbox, not when I deal the final hit. When I click the final checkbox on the bottom right, we should be good here. Yeah, I've still got about half health left, so time will be coming up. I will give a signal when it's done. We're almost to the end. And he should be about dead. Here we go, and time. So there we go. That is Exo-Force Deep Jungle. It's a very, very fast run. That was about 6 or 7 minutes, I would say. A score of 10,000 points. That's typically what you average if you just go for the bosses, because each shot does about 10, and then you get a little bit of a bonus for killing each boss. So we have rescued the sensei. It's kind of cool. You see all the characters and the sensei there. But that's Exo-Force Deep Jungle, a very quick 4-level speed run. It's a lot about movement optimization and knowing which enemies to kill and how to attack each boss. Overall, it's very fast-paced, very easy to learn run, a very underrated LEGO web game in my opinion. This one's a lot of fun for me because I used to play this one all the time when I was younger, and seeing it in the speedrunning scene now is a lot of fun. So that's all I have. This has been Luke99, and I've showcased Exo-Force Deep Jungle. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you stick around. We've still got a lot of great runs this weekend for LEGOthon, and thank you for watching.